So we're essentially here at Point View Reserve, and we're here with a new project. I essentially want to take like iconic characters and make them like skeletons, I guess. I've seen these kind of things like trending all over Instagram, mostly of just like random skeletons in different spots and stuff like that, but I want to take like iconic characters and Legofy them, basically. I reckon this will be a really good spot because it's full of like these different nature terrains of like moss, grass, trees, and just like organic plants and stuff like that. I just want to situate these skeletons in those different terrains and see what kind of photos we can get. I've been coming to this place for as long as I can remember, and I've only just recently started doing more photography here because there's just a wide range of different things that we can shoot here. It's full of wildlife, it's full of hundreds of different spots to shoot, and I'm hoping to get some pretty cool photos here. So this first spot that we've found looks pretty promising. It has some nice like grass textures, and because it's quite wet we might get some like little small water particles in there too. I think we'll shoot the skeleton knight on this one first, and yeah, see what we can do on our first attempt. I started with him laying down first, and I didn't really like that angle. Then eventually I stood him up against this nice little grass / dirt area, and that seemed to provide a much better angle. I think that's the way to go with these figures, is have them in a position where they're upright and just looks a little bit more natural, as if, you know, they've just died in that area. Sounds morbid, but that's essentially it. So that's the first one done, and we'll do a bit more exploring and see what other great places we can shoot. Hello, future me here. I thought I'd just jump in and kind of narrate the rest of this video in my backyard on a really windy day. So we're gonna see how well this mic handles this very windy day. But anyway, let's continue with the video. So I moved on to Frodo and Sam. Now, the idea was that Frodo had died while holding the ring, and the ring had continued to corrupt his body, changing his arm to black, and also using the burnt skeleton head that I've had for a couple years to kind of signify that. Now, I don't know why, but this version has a very, very morbid feeling to it, which I guess is the idea that I'm going for, but for some reason this one is extremely morbid, and I couldn't tell you why. I mean, I could tell you why, but it's just, in comparison with the other images, these ones are extremely morbid. The sun is all over the place as well. That's what happens when you shoot outside, is you get very unpredictable weather. There's like clouds moving through, so apologies for that. So next I found this really nice grass bed. Now, I don't know the exact scientific name for this grass bed. It just looks cool, so that's what I used for my next image with the clone trooper. And I made sure to get some blades of the grass actually feeding through his skeleton as well, to kind of show that he's just been here for a while. He hasn't been plopped on, which he has, but you know, it's to make it look like he hasn't been plopped into this scenario. And I think these photos were by far my favorite from the entire shoot, simply because of how simplistic they were, but also just the nice green colors, the nice orange tones, and just the lighting in general was really, really nice. And there was also a few stems or extra plants, I'd say, that were like growing out of the ground that were higher than the original grass blades, so that kind of added to the whole thing, and it looks really cool. So definitely one of my favorite photos from the shoot for sure. Man, I wish the sun would just stay consistent. Now it's super bright again. Next we moved on to Gandalf and Boromir. I mean, nothing too special about this one. I mean, just finding different ways of showing them decaying, basically. For Boromir, I had him with some plants growing around him. And then for Gandalf, I actually used a old minifigure that I had that was a ghost, basically. And it had this like nice grey cape that had holes in it, and kind of used that as Gandalf's cape to look like his cape was decaying as well. And I think that was another cool thing, just to add in the creative mix, I guess. I quite like this spot for Gandalf simply because it's just the variety there was. There was some nice orange moss and green blades of grass and a nice plant in the background that which kind of looked like a tree. That's the cool thing with using Lego minifigures, is you can use like a small plant that's about this big next to a Lego figure and it'll look like a tree. So it's just fun to play with scale in that sense. If you're going to recreate these images yourself, it's really important to get eye level with the figures. You kind of have to treat these figures as if they're real people. And to do that, you have to shoot as if you were shooting somebody else. And that would be at eye level, right? There's a few cases where you would shoot higher than eye level, but in this case, we shoot at eye level to make it look natural. Because you wouldn't shoot someone at a high level unless if you're like 7 foot tall, but that's another story. But wait, there is more. So essentially I've caught like a second wind, and I kind of want to go to the beach next and shoot a bunch of beach themed Lego photos and use the unique textures that are at the beach, basically, because you know we're using grass, moss and those sort of textures, but now I want to use sand. I think there's a whole bunch of things we can do, so fingers crossed it goes well. So we've come to the far side of the beach, and this is the reason why I wanted to go to a new location, because there's just a whole wide range of new textures here that can be really great for these sort of photos. So I found this cliffside that's going to work, I say, pretty well. The sand, of course, is going to be another great texture, and we're just going to explore, see what photos we can get around here. I mean, you can just see right off the bat we were able to nail another photograph. I mean, there's so many small things with this photo that I'm really happy with. I'm not entirely sure how these little craters are made. I assume from some sort of sea critters of some sort, but they added to the photo really well. To add the little sea turtle and that nice light that flows over the rocks just really complemented this photograph for sure. Next we moved on to some sand images. I mean, nothing too crazy about these images. I mean, got some nice sand textures, nice seashell textures, and two cool images, but you know, not a whole lot going on really. But with the second pirate, I was able to get a nice little reflection in there with the water, and I kind of used this crop for two reasons. One, to make it look cinematic, and also just to hone in on the seashells and the pirate and how they contrast together, because they kind of have similar colors to one another. And just making this small little slit. I've been doing it with past photographs before, but very rarely, and I feel like it's an underrated crop to use for images like these if you're trying to make something cinematic. Like, it's a simple shot, you got a pirate decaying, and making that crop just makes it look like a movie, really, with a story. But please let me know which of these images were your favorite. I mean, my two favorites are definitely the grass and the rock shot, I guess, if you would call it. But yeah, that was my first episode to the Morbid series. I mean, I don't know if I'm going to continue this series. It'd be cool to do it in new locations like snow, maybe along hills, mountains, or something like that, or even in the water. I mean, there's a whole range of possibilities when it comes to this Morbid series. So if you have any favorites, please let me know. This was just a quick little video that I've had planned for quite a while. Just wanted to make it a nice relaxed video. Nothing too hectic, just something chill. So yeah, feel free to let me know what you thought of this video. I had a lot of fun making it, just, you know, creating some cinematic photographs and also some cinematic B-roll as well. Always love showing New Zealand as a country, and just the wildlife and plants we have here are really unique, so it's a fun way to do that, I guess. That was another video. Follow my Instagram to see more images, and I'll see you in the next video.